Haere mai, welcome to your house. I wanted to mihi to everyone, as Te Ana Tuiona did, who has come before us, but also to those who will come after us. It is today that we are the custodians and the kaitiaki of the fight for justice. I wanted to also mihi to Whaanana Efeso Collins for his brief but gigantic contributions to this kaupapa. Also to our Pacifica Greens, I won't be able to name them all, but Renee Dingwall, to Reverend Moore Strickland, to Louise Tu'u, to Agnes Magele, and to many, many others who have also engaged with Te Ano in this kaupapa, in this fight for justice. I want to mihi to the thousands, the tens of thousands who came forward to the Select Committee and opened your stories of trauma and of resilience and of hope and of that consistent fight for justice through the generations. I also wanted to mihi to the parliamentarians who came to that Select Committee with open hearts and minds, and the fact that we have got here today to a place of consensus in this House is not something to be taken lightly. Now, I also wanted to just briefly mihi to the community who has welcomed myself alongside Te Ano into some of your hui and talanoa, where I received one of my new names that I've been blessed with, which I'm not sure if it was because you got my name wrong, but Gloria. Thank you very much. So I just wanted to speak to you not only as the co-leader of the Green Party that I'm speaking to this kaupapa today, but also to ground this very much in our geographical relationships. I am a little white kid from central Auckland, and central Auckland looked like a radically different place in the 1960s, 70s and 80s. At that point in time, central Auckland was estimated to have a Polynesian population of approximately 60%. It is the home and the origin and the foundings of the Polynesian Panthers. But as we have seen, and as my experience in politics, and particularly in the debates around the electorate have shown me, we spend a heck of a lot of time talking about this notion of heritage. But what we tend to be talking about and debating in that notion of heritage is the built environment, not those who built that environment. So I wanted to acknowledge the Pacific peoples who came before me, came before us, and built central Auckland and the fabric of that community that I love so dearly today. I also wanted to acknowledge the fact that how we've got to having this debate today is off the back of fundamental injustice, as many have acknowledged before me. And we had a government of the day back then, several decades ago now, although it may sound like a familiar story today, who intentionally passed policies in order to bring in people from the Pacific Islands to fill gaps in our economy and to grow that economy. Yet when times got tough politically, these governments turned their backs on those very communities and scapegoated them. At a point in time where the dawn raids were happening, this racist policy was in action. It is really important to note that the majority of overstayers in this country were not Samoan, were not Pacifica, but were European and American. And that is why this law was demonstrably and evidentially racist. It is really, really that simple, and I've checked with the clerk that I can indeed say that. But I think it's important to make that point about the racism which filtered through that legislation because of the fact that we actually can't say that in contemporary times when we are discussing legislation that may share the echoes of what we've seen in the past. And I don't think until we can get to a place in this institution where we can look ourselves in the mirror and truly acknowledge those injustices and that potential of racism, that we will not be able to evolve until we can get to that point. I want to acknowledge that this kaupapa has shaped so many lives throughout the generations. I also wanted to acknowledge the fact that in the government's 2021 apology for the dawn raids, it said, and I quote, "In many cultures, including in Pacific cultures, words alone are not sufficient to convey an apology, and it is appropriate to include tangible gestures of goodwill and reconciliation." Well, today is just one step in addressing those historical injustices. But as many have already reflected upon, those challenges and those injustices are still with us today, including in the likes of immigration policies around RSC workers. So this kaupapa can and must continue, and the Greens are with you in that fight. Ngā mihi nui.
How did they get Gloria out of Chloe?
I don't know, but it's a good name.
So new Green Party leader, Gloria Swarbrick.
She just needs epic boss music now.
I don't know. I'm used to her being Chloe, not Gloria.
Gloria. I'm hearing like Latin choir music in the background, and big angel wings as she draws like this massive sword out. Kind of like epic boss music in the background.
Yeah.
Gloria.
Well, in the issue of fairness, let's hear a national person.